Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're there.
Hey. Oh, for the love of God. What?
Did you turn it off?
No. Trying to now.
Hi, Jason. Who's my
Give
good
me a second.
Who's my good girl? Come here. Who's that? You better hurry up. What's your brother doing? Come here. You stay off the couch. You're bad.
All right. Let me put this out in the group. Okay, we're live. So are we live on YouTube now?
Yeah, it's going live right now.
Oh, neat. Perfect.
All right, let me message these 50 people. We're
All right,
fucking
let's get
live.
the dogs out of here and shut everything up. Come on. Out. Are you down here, Rich? Okay.
Hey, Chris, can you go to Facebook and put do an @ everyone on our group and says we're live?
Do you want me to do that?
Yes, please.
Where's the link?
Yeah, what link do they use, Chris? You don't remember
Oh, well, I could just take it out of the chat, right?
No, that's our
No,
private.
that'll invite everybody.
Oh, yeah.
How do we share the one for YouTube with this? You don't remember?
I don't remember right now. But we're only going to YouTube right now.
Correct.
No, we're only on YouTube.
So how do we share that link so people know we're live on YouTube?
Oh, I can share the link from. Let's see here.
We need that on Facebook.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
We're live right now, so.
I understand that, but people don't know that because we have nobody on.
We got 3 people.
I don't see anybody.
Bump it up.
So the only way I can join the chat is if I sign in with YouTube.
Oh, if they're on the YouTube channel, I can log on to that real quick.
I can't join the chat over here.
Yeah, we have to log into that on YouTube, but all right, I see. Okay, so it says we have like 4 people in there.
I see so I'm trying to click join the chat and it says connect as a YouTube. So should I not pick VAC, Chris? Should I pick something else? Should I pick my SDM?
What chat are you trying to join?
I'm trying to join so I can chat with everybody in the comments that are coming up. It won't allow me.
You can chat right in StreamYard in the comments.
It will not allow me. It says join
Never
chat.
allowed us to do that. We've had to log in separately. It's the private chat that we can do. So
Private, I
So,
can.
Jackie, I just saw your. Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah,
I
I logged in on my phone.
Yeah, you have to log in on the phone.
Let me see if I can use my other email to chat. There we go. Good stuff. Okay. The only thing I can't see is how many people we. All right. We're up and running now. Did somebody put it in the Facebook with?
Yep.
Okay.
So we got 4 people, but.
All right, guys, just
everyone
stand by
check
with
out.
us. We probably lost a lot of people, but we're having technical difficulties. If you've got questions, start putting them in the comment section. I know a lot of people did have some questions. I'm trying to tell a bunch of other people we're going live.
Get my background back.
People are saying the link's been removed, but I think they don't understand we're on a different platform. They just got to go to YouTube, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're
I'm
not
showing
streaming.
live
We're
on
not streaming to
YouTube.
Facebook right now. I have to re-upgrade the account to stream
Yeah.
to multiple places. So
We'll see. I don't, we put something in the Facebook group?
yes, Steph.
We don't have Facebook is what I'm saying live that we just had.
I put the link to YouTube. That's all we have.
Okay. So if you're on with us right now and you have questions, go ahead. I can't see how many people are on. I just see live in the upper left-hand corner.
And we got 14 people coming back on. So
Okay.
It's not
Blake,
bad.
Blake, can you see the comments and comment? And can you see the private chat and can you comment?
I can see the private chat.
Okay, I'm testing. Can you see that in the private, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Where's Jackie?
I'm
Oh,
right
shit.
here.
she's got audio only.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
Scott has a question.
Boom.
All right, well, stand by, Scott. Just give us a second because we're like, all right, so everybody can see that. All right.
I look like I'm glowing in the dark.
Okay. All right. So, hey, everyone. Take two. Welcome to our first live Q&A of 2024. It's not the way we had planned, but hey, that's life, right? If you're on, we appreciate it. Welcome. Thanks for coming on with us. We had to actually switch some software here tonight. So if you've got questions, pop them in there for us, and we'll try to answer them to the best of our ability. If we can't answer them, we'll be sure to get our email. Chris, do we have all the banners available, or are we completely in the dark tonight with all that?
No.
Okay. Then be sure to email us at this email anytime. We'll be happy to take your questions through email and try to answer them as well. Couple things. We've been doing this now a little bit over a year, collectively, the 5 of us, and we are family. Family is awesome. We have a love-hate. We all do, right? Family. But we're here.
All love. All love.
But we're still here. I appreciate Ashley, Jackie, Blake showing up every time with us, with Chris and I, to help us out with this. Hopefully this year we're going to do more videos. We're going to do more Q&As. We are doing consultations, kind of more Blake and I are doing consultations. So if you feel like you need a little bit more one-on-one, we can do a consultation with you. You can just email us and we can get you more information on that. We appreciate all the supporters over the last year that have supported us with our YouTube. It's growing and we are ever evolving. So with that, I know we're going to probably slow to get some questions. It may be a short night because unfortunately we lost a lot of people, but I know we do have one question from Scott, so we'll go ahead and take that question. Ashley, do you want to read that? Are you able to start, Chris? Okay.
Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Oh, it's plugged in. Okay. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
hear you now.
Okay. So this first one is from Scott, Mr. Scott Painter. Is it one claim per injury you're claiming, or is it one claim for all injuries?
Well,
So it depends on what you're claiming.
right. Is the injury a disability?
So I think you can claim multiple things at once, but it's going to depend on what you're doing. So like, for example, if you've never filed a claim or you've never filed for certain conditions, you can file them all together on like the 526EZ and list as many as you want. You can put 160 things on there if you are so inclined. If you're doing an appeal, like you're only going to want to be doing the disabilities that you're appealing and whatnot. So the short answer is you can claim as many things as you want on a claims form as long as you're using the appropriate claims form.
And actually, now that I'm looking at the name, this is the guy I was telling y'all about that works with my mother. So, you just told me earlier that you had acupuncture. So I guess he's claiming for his back injuries and things in that nature.
Yeah, if it's an initial claim, go ahead and file it on that 526 EZ. And you can claim as many things as you want.
So leg injury, back injury, neck injury. That's what I'm getting on YouTube.
Stand by, guys. We're trying to do something here real quick.
Now, he doesn't really want to claim the injury itself. He wants to claim whatever the disability that the injury caused. Correct, Jackie?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hey, I don't want to interject, but hey, Chris, I know since we're already way off the course here. What you posted on Facebook for the live wasn't it. If you can repost it and give us just a second, guys, for him to do that in Facebook. It's just the YouTube live.
I actually need to do that for my personal page.
Stand by.
Stand by to stand by.
So hopefully, Scott, that answered your claim. And that's who you've been talking to, right, Ashley?
Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I mean, so since we're still working out the technical difficulties, having a diagnosis, you need a diagnosis to be, service connected for almost anything VA wise. However, you can claim something like a knee injury or an ankle injury or a back injury. And, as long as you have like an instance in service, that will support that, something in the medical records, something that supports that you maybe had that injury in service. VA will send you to an examination and they'll leave it to the examiner to give you like a concrete diagnosis. So of course, if you can go in with a diagnosis already, I mean, you're already ahead of the game, but you can absolutely claim things, like I said.
And he was also the one, Miss Stephanie, on our last live about the poop barrels.
Oh,
okay. Yes, that's the same guy.
Okay.
So he's, I had him, as far as back and everything. I said you need to get MRI. I told him every step I went through, but he's on acupuncture right now, so I think he's getting there. I mean. He's getting that evidence gathered.
So I guess he's got a leg injury, a back injury, and a neck injury that he's looking at.
Yes, ma'am.
What he's saying. Okay, gotcha.
And yes, acupuncture is amazing. I highly recommend that because he just said that. It was great.
Hey, Chris, were you able to do that on Facebook?
Not yet. I'm fumbling around with StreamYard here, so we're going with what we got.
Well, I need the link because I got like 50 pings and Messenger. So I just told him to go to our page and click on it.
Copy the YouTube link.
Where is that at?
On YouTube.
Because what I see on YouTube is
All right.
that.
I see 26 on YouTube right now.
No, I don't mean people. I just need the link to go into the Facebook group so people can click it because some were on Facebook and now they're trying to get on via YouTube.
Right.
So just tell them, Chris, to go to the YouTube and go to the live.
Here,
That's what I did.
Let me try this again.
I think I found it, Chris.
I'm trying to share the link, so I don't know. Anyway, let's get on. People have questions, so.
Well, I'm seeing a lot more questions. So, all right. So we got care of Scott. So the next one.
Okay. This next one is from Mr. Chris Drexler. So hello, secondary 70% connected to insomnia. Retired 2 years ago due to difficulty performing my job. Oh, go back, Chris. performing my job.
Hold on. Go back to Chris's. There we go. Hello.
Would applying for TDIU be advisable? Afraid to poke the bear.
Secondary 7 connected for insomnia. Solely for insomnia? Or are you overall 70%? I guess, first of all, TDIU is if you are unable to be gainfully employed due to a service-connected disability or disabilities, first and foremost. So I guess that would be my first question. Are you unable to work because of that?
Because of your disabilities. Not because it sounds like you just retired.
Right. Just because you're retired, and I'm not going to be frank, and don't want to work, that doesn't mean you go on TDIU. It's not unemployment. So if you're having an issue with service-connected disability since you retired and you're not able to gainfully work, then you could look the route of TDIU. But it also comes with income restrictions as well. So I guess that would be my first and foremost question. And second, you said secondary 70% insomnia. Are you 70% overall? I was a little confused by that, Chris.
I'm thinking he's 70% all overall, but insomnia is secondary to something.
Okay.
Well, regardless, if you're 70%, you meet the scheduler requirements for IU. So you need to make that determination. So TDIU is the unemployability, individual unemployability, which they can grant you if you're unable to work due to your service-connected disabilities. So if you claim it, they could order an exam. They may be able to go off the evidence of record, yourself, your medical records, and you know what you're claiming. So if it's a legitimate claim, there should be enough objective evidence to kind of support that. Another good guideline is, so if you're applying for unemployability, are you in seat of Social Security disability? What do those records say? Like, there's a whole lot that goes into it. So you really just have to weigh the overall evidence. It's not something you apply just to apply for. Are you really unemployable due to your service-connected disabilities? And if so, you should, you really should be severe enough that it ordinarily would not reduce you. And I know we say this every time, and I know stuff. VA ain't trying to reduce you. It is too much work to reduce people. It's a pain in the butt. Nobody's trying to reduce you. So as long as you have a legitimate claim, unless there was an error made somewhere down the line, VA is not trying to take it away from you. It's not the raiders. It's not the droves. It's not the authorizers' money,
Right.
They don't get bonuses for decreasing payments.
No.
Sure don't.
Thank you, Peggy, for the donation. We truly, truly appreciate it. It goes to support our channel. We appreciate it. And thanks for everyone sticking through us with the difficulties. Look, people are hopping back on, so we're good to go. All right, what is our next question?
Okay, this next one is from Mr. Marvin Jenkins. So hello from chilly Milwaukee. I got a sleep apnea CMP exam tomorrow, and he says suggestions for my visit. The VA already has a copy of my sleep study.
Are you going for another sleep? I'm unfamiliar with sleep apnea when it comes to like exams. Are they going for a study?
Well,
Sometimes they'll have the veteran come in just to examine them and talk to them and get like a history and stuff. They're generally not long exams because with sleep apnea, it's pretty straightforward. There's a few symptoms they're looking for. Have you had a sleep study? Do you meet the diagnostic criteria, et cetera, et cetera? So it really should be short. And if VA has your sleep study, it's just a matter of them making it, giving a medical opinion.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. I don't want to say no brainer, but it should be pretty easy to get through. And depending on how you filed your sleep apnea as well, because if you filed it secondary, they may be asking you some questions, right, Jackie, related to the primary. Again, I don't
Yeah,
know.
really good history, you know.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
Okay, this next one is from Christilda Garrett. So happy New Year to you all. I had my orthopedic doctor fill out the DBQ for both my knees. The paperwork she filled out was not legible. Do I have to get her to fill out a new form or just elaborate?
Well, if it's not legible, I would definitely have
Get her
your
to fill out.
doctor.
Well, now the question is not legible to who?
Yeah, because
Because
Blake.
If you're having trouble reading it, you should get the doctor to redo it. And although I'd like to say doing an addendum and having the examiner just provide that extra documentation clarifying or, you know, write in legibly what they could say, that should work. But I would highly recommend that the doctor refills out the DBQ and then makes it legible.
because that is my superpower.
Reading
Yeah, that's because you're a doctor, Blake.
Scribble, scrabble.
Scribble, scribble, scribble.
No, I agree. If it's not legible, I'd have them redo it and fill it out completely and accurately, because the more information that's on the DBQ, the better. And a lot of the private doctors tend to step over a lot of the DBQ and leave out a lot of the information, which
Renders it insufficient for rating purposes.
right. And therefore you also would get an exam because the rater will see an incomplete DBQ and order an exam, which you would probably still get an exam anyways for, what was it, her knees anyways, for ROM, flexion, and extension purposes. But it's better to have it all filled out completely. So that's what I would do. If it's not legible, I'd go back to my doctor and ask her. Yes. And that's what I thought. So I reviewed this one and we went over it together, and I gave you some really good valid points. I would go with those points and go back to the doctor with it as well. I looked over it and I thought I sent it to you, Blake, but I may not have.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Could you read it?
Yeah, I could. I read some of it, and if I remember correctly, I pointed out some discrepancies on it.
Yeah, but you could read it? It was legible?
No, not all of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then there were some things that were blatantly missing that needed to be on there. So, yeah, I would definitely go back to your doctor and have them redo it. And we can talk again through email if you need to as well.
Yeah, this is Marvin's kind of got a follow-up. Just
Okay, so Mr. Jenkins said, thanks for answering my questions. The sleep apnea exam is due to my claim. Sleep apnea is secondary to asthma.
Oh, well, that's going to be combined. You can't have both. You can't be rated for both, Marvin, under the respiratory ratings for sleep apnea and asthma. It's one or the other, whichever one's rated higher. If you're granted it, obviously, for sleep apnea. You can't be rated separately for both. That's interesting, but you can obviously file, right, Jackie? You can file it secondary, right, to it, but you're going to get the higher.
I mean, it will likely be combined. There's very few instances where it wouldn't be.
Right.
But the general rule of thumb is that it would fall under the pyramid and rules, and they would be combined, and whichever evaluation would be higher, whether it be the asthma or the sleep apnea, that's what evaluation they would give you.
Right. And back to Caroline, I did make notes and I sent that back to you in email right before the New Year's regarding that DDQ and my notes in the email. So be sure to check that and we can converse as well. Peggy, thanks again for the donation.
Okay, this next one is from Miss Peggy. So she got her claim for tinnitus approved. Congratulations. So now combined rating of 70%, still waiting for rhinitis, sinusitis, and depression. Thanks to your videos and advice, I was able to submit way more information. Good.
Great. That's awesome, Peggy.
This next one's from RG. Is it possible to get granted T2D diabetes secondary to hypertension? Is there a linkage between them? I guess the most important thing is to get an IMO, right?
Like
type 2 diabetes. There is a linkage between hypertension and diabetes, but not necessarily the other way around. So diabetes can cause hypertension. So if you're trying to connect it in that order, yes. But if you're trying to say your hypertension caused your diabetes, that's going to be a big mountain to try to climb, and most likely you're not going to make it to the top.
Okay.
But I would discuss it with your provider, and I think they'll probably tell you the same thing.
No.
Hey, Jackie.
Ma'am.
TDIU, IU, would you, when someone is granted that as a veteran, is that a scheduler, or is that just, is it a rating? Because a lot of times I get veterans that hit me up and say, hey, I'm 70% and I got 30% for TDIU. Well, we know that's not the case. They're being paid at 100%. How do you, I guess, vocabularize that TDIU? It's a rating?
Yeah, so they consider it as like an evaluation. So if you put in a claim for like IU, what they'll do is they'll consider it as a claim for increase. So basically what it's saying, so we know it pays you with the 100%. So whatever service-connected disabilities they factor into the IU, they're basically saying whether it be a single disability or a combination of several disabilities, cumulatively, they are 100%, even though that's not the scheduler for them.
Gotcha. Because what Scott asked and Chris had put up what TDIU means is the total disability, individual unemployability. And we kind of talked about it earlier, which is granted when you're deemed unable to substantially be gainfully employed due to your service-connected disabilities. You still retain your 70, 80, or 90% overall.
Correct. But even if they pull the code sheet, what you'll see is whatever the last veteran's percentage was. So let's say in this case it's 70%, and then you'll see the effective date for whatever the grant is. It will say 100%, and then it will say like individual unemployability next to it. So it's basically like a 100% evaluation, and it makes kind of everything else moot, if that makes sense.
Right. And I was, because that was one of the, Scott had asked Ashley what TDIU meant.
Yes, ma'am. I saw that.
So basically that's what it means, but you're being paid at 100%, but you still retain your overall rating, whether it's a 70, 80, or 90.
And I'm actually working on my letter right now for TDIU.
It's about time, girl.
Yeah, I did an ITF back in July, but I'm still.
If you lost eligibility to TDIU or, went back to work or whatever, you would revert back to that original percentage you were before the IU. So it's not like you lose your percentage, and you can even be on IU and then put other claims in, and then you can be 100% scheduler. So you won't have that.
And you can even go back to work and attempt to go back to work. Yeah. And if you can successfully go back to work and maintain full-time employment, then you obviously fall off and lose TDIU the following year, because you can't earn more than one individual's federal poverty level income annually. So
like 38,000.
No, it's 15,000.
No, it's all, yeah. It went up a little bit, but it was like 14 something last year.
Yeah.
14,500.
That's just under 15, but that's another confusion with veterans. They think that they can earn based on their entire household numbers. No, it's The M21-1 is specific. It says per one individual, which you are the individual, the veteran.
Right.
So anyways, I got off topic because he had asked about TDIU. So, all right, Chris, next question.
Okay, this next one's from Mr. Bob Williamson. So, service connected to rhinitis with polyps and cyanitis. What are my chances of successful claim for OSA without a nexus letter and only a personal statement? Doctor wouldn't be bothered. 2 sleep studies as evidence.
Sleep studies are only good for the diagnosis. They will not make that connection. Doctor wouldn't be bothered may not mean he won't be bothered. Is he a VA? Question is he a VA physician or is he a private physician? Nexus, to write a good nexus letter takes a good, at very minimum, if you're not used to doing them, it takes at very minimum of 2 to 3 hours to put in the research to be able to state in a letter that there is a true nexus and to back it up, because you have to have the information. A lot of the hired guns, that's what they do. They cut and paste because someone's already done that research for them. However, a lot of times they've never even looked at the veteran's history, and it's quite obvious from some of their histories that the hired gun is only writing what they've been asked to say. So it doesn't apply. It doesn't necessarily apply to that veteran. Oftentimes the feeling that the doctor won't bother with it is because the doctor does not believe they are connected. Whether that's true or not, I mean, if you can show him all the literature that shows both causation and I'm drawing a blank, causation and
Aggravation?
No, correlation.
Correlation.
In your case, that's great. And a lot of times you can put all that into your personal statement yourself, as long as you word it and show the correlation. Sleep apnea is, again, one of those things that's really hard to prove that what's causing it, especially if you're already overweight and meet a number of the other aggravating factors for it to be able to say that it is more likely than not, or at least likely does not, to be your sinusitis and rhinitis, as it is all these other factors. Then, if you've got 12 risk factors and that's one of them, how do you say that one is as least likely as not as all the others to cause it?
Right.
All right.
So this next one is from Mr. Jeff B. So scheduled for a second CMP for asthma, the one with Optum Serve. What is a DBQ Terra medical opinion?
That's a toxic exposure risk activity medical opinion.
So, you'll hear Terra. So Stephanie just said exactly what it is. So a Terra opinion, with them signing the PACT Act into law. So we know the PACT Act went into law on August 10th, 2022. And that allowed VAs additional guidance and more leeway in granting service connection for issues that may arise from occupational and environmental exposures. So a Terra medical opinion, essentially, if it's anything except like a Terra exclusion, and generally just as like a good rule of thumb, the Terra exclusions would be something that's due to a traumatic injury, overuse, something like that. So you'll see like a lot of elbows, necks, knees, back, all this stuff is like a Terra exclusion because it's from trauma, right? Same thing with mental health. Those are going to be almost always a terror exclusion well. So that leaves us the rest of the 500 million diagnoses is out there. So essentially, if it's not excluded from terror and they determine that you had some sort of occupational environmental hazard in service, even if you don't name it specifically as a terror, that they're generally going to request a terror medical opinion. And what they'll do is they'll write up this little memo and they'll put what you were exposed to or probable or likely exposures, whether it be, you know, hazards in the Gulf War, or maybe you were a jet fuel specialist and you were around fuel and fumes and all that stuff. So whatever they come up with, they'll ask a medical opinion and they'll be like, is it, actually I got it right here. So what they'll do is they'll ask, does the veteran have a diagnosis that is at least as likely as not caused by the indicated toxic exposure risk activities after considering the total potential exposure through all applicable military deployments of the veteran and the synergistic combined effect of all toxic exposures risk of the veteran. So again, cliff notes, if you were exposed, if you had occupational or environmental exposures while you're in service, they will go ahead and ask for that additional opinion. So that's
And
what
do you think, and I don't know based off of his question, but I'm wondering, do you think that this is maybe a second round for him? Like maybe he was denied previously or something, and now they're doing this exam for the Terra. They're looking
usually what they'll try to do, I think, and I think a lot of the VSOs are seeing this, is that, you know, the veteran will claim it one way, whether it be direct, secondary, and then, you know, they don't get granted service connection based on those theories of entitlement. So when all else fails, then they have to do the duty to assist and request that terror opinion to make sure that all theories of service connection were explored. But because there's so many like PACT Act claims or so many things that haven't had terror addressed yet, so likely even if it was denied, you put it in, even if it was still going to be denied on like a direct basis, if they put it in, they would have to do that terror opinion before they denied it for the VA's duty to assist.
So to follow up on his question, Chris, can you pop up that one right below Junior? It's from Jeff B. Have you heard the term developing to deny? My VSO said this is a thing. Oh God, here we go. When the rater orders multiple CMP exams.
So here's the thing, so BA cannot develop to deny, all right? No. So it's actually like a hit on the VSRs and the RVSRs as well, because they call it overdevelopment, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to kick things back for exams and whatnot. You want to know why? Because if they kick it back for exams, they accumulate less points for the day. Raters make more points rating the claim than they do kicking it back for an exam. So usually if it gets kicked back for multiple exams, it's because they have to readdress something, like maybe the terror wasn't addressed yet and they have to kick it back. Maybe the medical opinion need clarification. Maybe they determined that, you know, you claimed it on a secondary basis, but they were going through your service treatment records and they were like, oh, wait, here's something. Maybe we can do it on direct basis. And then maybe the examiners just kind of gave a crappy opinion and maybe like they need a better one. So there's certain criteria that these medical opinions and examinations need to meet. And if they don't, they have to send it back. It's not to make veterans give up and stop. It's not to, you know, it's not to do a disservice to the veteran. A lot of times when you see these multiple opinions, it's because the VA is not getting all the information they need to accurately do the claim. So in regards to developing to deny, nobody's going to do that extra work if they don't have to. Again, because it's more advantageous to the rater to rate it than kick it back.
And why, on God's green earth, I'm sorry, I'm so sick and tired of hearing these VSOs and these cockamanian crap that they put out there. It just irritates me. Why would and I'm not even a rater. I don't even work for the VA. I'm just a veteran post. Why would I say, hey, let me see how I can develop to deny? Like, to me, that just makes absolutely zero sense.
Well,
It's
you
like-
know, it is a thing because it's a phrase, but again, you know, it's everybody who touches your claim that overdevelops, they'll
Right.
get hit on it. It's not like a thing that they're supposed to be doing. But, you know, VA a few years ago came out with this huge, like what, in 2019, came out with this huge thing of this duty to assist and to help the veteran. So if
Yeah.
they're taking it back for an exam or a medical opinion verification, there's a reason for it. It's either required by the manual of the CFR or the rater or the decision review officer need it to provide a good and well-informed decision. I mean, it's really just as simple as that. It's not to do a disservice to the veteran. More often, it's because they're trying to help the veteran.
Right. And just to touch on Marvin, if you're still on, he had said it was thanks for answering his question that the sleep apnea claim is due to my claim sleep apnea is secondary to asthma. Well, that's because that's how you filed it. And all I was letting you know is if you happen to get sleep apnea rated, you won't have two separate ratings for asthma and sleep apnea. You'll have one, or you can have both, but you only be rated for the higher of the two. So that's what I was trying to let you know, Marvin. All right. So if there's other people, I know we were having some legitimate technical difficulties. If there's other people on that are just joining, I can't see how many people are on or whatnot. I know we lost quite a few with the technical difficulties. If you are on and you have any questions and you're holding them back, don't hold them back. Please go ahead and put them in the comment section because once we're out of questions, we will end. I'm not going to hold everybody up to just sit here and wait for somebody to come on and bring questions. So I know we have a few more left in the hopper, but anyways, next question.
Okay, so this next one is from Junior Souls. So I was in a Humvee accident, started having problems with my ear. After MRI and CAT scans, it showed I had a tumor in my third facial nerve. I got denied from the VA because I was told it was DNA issue.
There's a second part.
I feel like I should have gotten a percentage because I had no issues at all until that night. Should I fight it?
I mean, you can try. That's a lot to kind of speculate on, but you know, VA won't grant service connections for congenital issues. So if it was something that you were born with, and I don't think DNA issue would be like the appropriate description. I'm not
genetic.
sure. Yeah. So
Genetic.
if it, not even just genetic. You can have a genetic predisposition, but if it happens in service, you'll be service connected for it. But if it's something that predated your service and was congenital, like they said you were born with it, well, unless it was really aggravated by service, it's probably not. But I think for something like that, if they're saying it pre-existed service, you could absolutely claim it again, but say that you want to claim it based on
Aggravation.
Aggravated by service. Yeah, but you could email Steph with some more details and we can kind of give you a little more guidance. I don't want to speculate too much because that was a little vague.
It'd be nice to know if you've had a CAT scan done previously.
Yeah, and then the actual diagnosis as well.
Yeah, he said he started having problems with his ear, so tinnitus
If you have a copy of your rating decision, if you can redact your personal information and send it in, we can take a look at it.
Chris, you can pop the email up. And if you go ahead, Junior, and email us at this email address, redact all your personal information, send the decision of the denial to us, give us a little bit more information that you want to give us. And then I can run the email through all of us and we can give you some additional feedback based on reading the denial, because sometimes that will have more information for us to better understand why you got denied and maybe the avenues you can take, such as an appeal or whatnot. So yeah, just send us that email if you want to, and we'll be more than happy to help you as well. And yeah. Oh, Scott again.
So, Mr. Painter, so for mental health claims related to combat deployments, what is the first step for diagnosis? Someone mentioned some acronym VAB or VBA. It would be VBA. I've seen civilian therapists for it, but nothing with the VA.
You don't have to see a VA therapist if you're seeing a civilian mental health doctor. That's sufficient enough, but you need the PTSD. I'm assuming you're trying to file for PTSD.
He's getting everything in the works as far as I'm understanding.
So is he claiming a mental health condition or is he claiming PTSD? Because that will make a big difference on how he wants to file.
Mental health, his back, neck.
Yeah. Oh, wait. We're talking about mental health. His question was about, is he trying to find, Ashley, is he trying to file it due to PTSD?
Due to us like sleeping next to the poo ponds and a deployment that
So
I'm
probably not PTSD.
Yes.
If he's getting treatment, he can just get his private treatment records and submit them to VA or fill out the 4142 and the 4142. Wait. Alpha. And then
okay, so he was diagnosed
so
already.
Stressor. So
he said he was diagnosed with PTSD and GAD, general anxiety disorder. But what's the PTSD due to, Scott? That would be the question. He said combat in his comment to us.
Honestly, I have to be honest with you. Some people get so wrapped up with, oh, I deployed and I saw this, or I went through this experience and I have PTSD.
PTSD can be a car wreck.
Let VA sort that crap out. Don't limit your crap, because once you claim PTSD, you have to verify stressors. There's more development. It takes more time and everything else. So all these veterans get so wrapped up with PTSD, and then it takes so much more time to do their claims when they end up with a diagnosis of something like anxiety or depression. And that's okay too, because mental health symptoms wax and wane, and diagnoses change because diseases progress. You could get better. The whole point is that you can be service connected for a mental health condition. So I can't even overstate. Just claim a mental health condition included. For that, I would put including PTSD and anxiety, but I would claim it as mental health. That way you don't hold up your claim and do all this extra development.
Like some people, then they'll pick anxiety or depression, but they really actually have PTSD due to service.
See, and that's what I was about to caveat on is I claim depression and it's major depressive disorder, but I sent Jackie my records, and in my records, it's like bipolar 2, PTSD, because of the MST. Everything's just combined into one thing because you can only claim one thing for mental health.
Well,
you're going to be rated.
And you can have multiple diagnoses, but they're going to clump it together. And don't forget, in the M21, it specifically says that mental health claims must be sympathetically read. So if you claim mental health, it will be a claim for all mental health conditions. If you claim PTSD and you don't have PTSD, but they get a positive opinion for anxiety, guess what? They're going to grant the anxiety. Right. If you have anxiety and they're able to corroborate a stressor and diagnose PTSD, they'll grant you for PTSD. So don't get wrapped up so much in the diagnosis. Just get the mental health claim in.
And that's what I like, an umbrella, a mental health claim, and let the VA figure out what mental health diagnosis you have and whether it's due to service or not. Because then you get a lot of kickbacks. The VA will deny, nope, you don't have PTSD, but oh, by the way, we found out you have this, and this, and that you should,
No, and what do you tell the veterans that that didn't seek help while in service?
I didn't.
I did to a certain extent, but
I didn't. I was out 16 years. I had no idea I deserved health care, let alone benefits.
But even Vietnam veterans
Yeah.
and World War II, I
Yeah,
mean, not that there's
yeah.
a lot of World War II veterans anymore, but you still see Korean War vets, Vietnam veterans being service connected for mental health. And, the training that they give these people specifically states that people don't want to always go get help during service because they don't want they don't want
And Ashley, what we're rated for, MST.
Right.
You don't.
But I
a
mean,
lot-
just me taking psychology along, in school, I mean, a lot of people are not diagnosed with anything because either, they're afraid of what other people think about it and then the cost. So it's like, with me, with veterans, it's like, we're told basically suck it up, so a lot of veterans haven't reached out, and it's trying to figure out now, like after 7 years out, like what's wrong with me? Why am I having these nightmares? What, stuff like that.
Many veterans do the same thing, and there's no time. There's no expiration on when a veteran can file a claim. They could be out one day, they could be out 25, 30, 40 years and file a claim. It is what it is. It's just,
But what I'm saying is what service connects them to, like, if they're out this umpteen years, like what can they do to service connect it to
buddy statements.
service member records.
Service
Like me, I was out 16 years. I had a copy of my service member records.
Go and talk to somebody and have
I
them,
went to therapy appointments, so
go
that
to
helped
talk-
me with mine.
because those are medical records. Go and talk to your provider and let them know what your feelings are and where you believe or feel that it stems from and why.
Yep.
Get it in the record.
I saw a 94-year-old World War II veteran get service connected for his back, and that was about 500 years after he got out of service. So
Right.
you do that little extra work, and like you guys said, get the stuff in. The worst VA can say is no. Whatever, doesn't hurt you. It takes very little time.
All right, guys, we're gonna try to move along. I know we're like a half hour behind. I'm sorry. We got a lot more questions while we were talking on that one, but that was a good conversation there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this next one is from Nov65. So currently in the process of increasing my migraines from 0%. Just seen my DBQ that was completed by the CMP examiner, and the 4B box is checked no for prostrating affecting economic adaptability, but I submitted a lay statement and buddy letter from spouse, migraine log, and personal DBQ. Is there a chance I could be rated higher than 30%?
Well, you can always appeal if you don't agree with the decision at 0, because 0, you're service connected. It's just non-compensable. But the thing with migraines is they've got to be prostrating in the frequency. So if the prostrating the frequency was not divulged or something was not discussed in the exam, then you can appeal it, either an HLR, and appeal it with the evidence that was already submitted and say, look, relook at this information. I provided enough to requires and allows me per the 38 CFR to be rated 30%, or you file a supplemental with new evidence to get the higher rating showing the prostrating frequency. But I almost guarantee you that information is missing right there for the migraines, for sure.
Right. Well, he said he submitted it. So without seeing what the evidence says, we can speculate. But yeah, of course you could get a higher evaluation, but we can't know that without looking at your documents.
Or looking at the evidence submitted,
Right.
which is clearly, if you're saying, what you say and what a veteran says and what sometimes is actually evidence of record are usually two different things. And usually also NAS 65 on your decision letter, there is an evidence section, and a lot of veterans scan right over it. They don't even look at it. They just look at their rating. It'll show you every piece of evidence that was used to come to their decision for your disability claim. So I would look at that list, because if it's not on there, then it wasn't submitted or used, Or sometimes, this happens a lot, it was submitted after the claim was decided. Like a veteran put something in after the claim was decided. So now it's not evidentiary record of matter at that time. Anybody else?
I just put in our what's the NAV 65? I'm still learning myself.
I don't know. What is the NAV 65?
It's a DOD form.
Oh,
NAV 65, NAV 65.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Is
it's
that the guy?
I was just curious.
Chris, you missed Robert Carter's at 9:15 p.m.
Anyway.
I see that, the PACT Act.
I'll take this real quick. PACT Act isn't rated. It's you claim disabilities due to exposures. All right. So they're rated under the codes in the 38 CFR. So it's rated like anything else, super regular. It's evaluated as a disability. PACT Act
Is a bill.
is a bill. Yeah. So really what you're thinking about is the tower, which we just discussed is the occupational environmental hazards you may have been exposed to in service.
Yeah. PACT Act is not a disability. PACT Act is a bill that was passed into law.
Right. And terror is not a disability either. You have to look at it kind of like Gulf War, Agent Orange. You can't just claim Agent Orange. You have to claim a disability due to Agent Orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. So different codes, like I said, they'll evaluate you based on the disability. So if you have headaches, it's going to be under that diagnostic code for headaches, and it will have its own evaluation. If you claim something else, they'll decide that separately, so let's say IBS. So yeah, they'll do it under that diagnostic code and evaluation.
Yeah. There's no different codes for PACT Act. There's no one rating for PACT Act. PACT Act is a bill that passed adding additional presumptive areas, adding additional presumptives, adding additional illnesses, injuries, etc. through that bill. So again, like if, for instance, the cancer, any neck cancer, that would be a disability. You would file that disability per the PACT Act bill that passed, allowing you to now file it as presumptive. So PACT Act doesn't have any code.
You could have filed for the disability before the PACT Act and been denied, and then because of the PACT Act, refile and get it approved.
Excellent point.
But it's still the same disability. It's still the same code, the same.
Right. It's just the laws change. It's
Yeah.
a theory of entitlement, almost like secondary, direct, aggravation, all that.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
Okay, this next one is from Haha Mom. Could filing a supplemental within the 12 months sweep up an existing intent to file for a completely separate and yet to be filed claim?
Yes, supplemental claims, ITFs can be applied to supplemental claims if, even when they change the guidance, if the supplemental claim was pending, then they can still accept the ITF. So if you have multiple claims to submit, then you're going to want to submit the supplemental claim. And then let's say you wanted to file some new claims too. So like a 526EZ, you make sure you submit those on the same day and the ITF will apply to both. If you file them on different days, whatever you file first is going to eat up that ITF.
Yeah. Always file everything under the one ITF, because if you don't, exactly what Jackie says, one will go to the ITF and the other will start a whole new, and it won't go under the ITF. And if you have an ITF, once you file under it, start a new one and let that sit there in case you have additional claims down the road to file. Put another ITF in place, but you can't have two ITFs in place. So just remember that you always got to have just one ITF at one time with all the claims. So hopefully, I like that name, Haha Mom. All right, so next one.
So Mr. Carter again. So how does the clothing allowance process work? I am trying to find out more information about it. What is covered?
Watch the video.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Is he on our Facebook page or your Facebook page?
YouTube.
Yeah.
Robert.
Yeah.
go to our YouTube. I have a clothing allowance video on there. But clothing allowance is basically, it's filed once a year. Now, some of the places have gone with your grandfathered in. Once you've been approved, you don't have to do it anymore. I've heard conflicting information. I file it annually because I'm still required to do so. But clothing allowance has specific requirements based on devices you wear that destroy your clothing, creams that you use that destroy your clothing. And again, those items have to be for service-connected disabilities, and you can file accordingly. If you have any specific questions, be sure to ask me. I didn't want to say novice. What do I want to say? Pretty, not an
Knowledgeable.
expert.
I
Huh?
think you're pretty solid
Knowledgeable.
when it comes to
Pretty
that.
knowledgeable.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, to file for it. So just reach out to me, Robert, if you have any questions. But my video on there is really good and really explains and gives some great details as well. So
And it's
None
it's
of-
due once a year, right?
once
Yeah.
by
In
August.
August, yeah.
But you can actually start filing now. So you don't have to wait till August 1st. I usually put mine in like around February, March. And the sooner you put it in, the sooner sometimes you can get paid. Some people get paid, like I usually get paid the second week in August for it.
None of mine are. I'm on that diclofenac sodium gel and the lidocaine cream, and it doesn't qualify. So
Oh, Chris, Robert, Chris just put the YouTube link in there for you. So be sure to check it out. I just put it in
Hey,
there.
Steph, where is the spreadsheet at for what qualifies for
It's in
creams?
there.
And
It's in the
it's in the
description.
video?
it
Description?
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I looked at it tediously. None of mine qualify.
Yeah, and I'm going to look to see if there's an updated one that comes out this year, but I haven't seen one recently. But
Yeah,
I'll
make sure you
check
take a look at that list, though. That'll tell you right away if something will qualify or not.
for cream for sure. Yep,
Creams and
all that good stuff. All right. I think
Trisha.
we're on Trisha.
Yeah. Okay, this next one's from Miss Trisha. So my VSO recommended I submitted my fibromyalgia claim as Gulf War related. I was deployed to Iraq 2003 to 05. I've seen online in some of the veteran Facebook groups that people have submitted as secondary to MST, IBS, etc. I suffered MST in 99 and was diagnosed with IBS-C in 01 because of the presumptive conditions for Gulf War veterans. Do you agree with my VSO? That's all Stephanie.
You can claim for more than one theory of entitlement. So if you meet the diagnostic criteria and you have the qualifying Gulf service, then it is a presumptive under 3.317, which is the Gulf War and the Migraines and whatnot. But if you want to try to claim it as secondary to something, just claim it the same way. It's not going to look bad on you because you claim it 5 different ways. You want to cover your bases. But I haven't really seen IBS, fibro caused IBS. More often, the digestive upset is a symptom of that. So I don't really know how solid that sounds, but again, the worst they can tell you is no.
Yeah.
Claim all the theories of service connection that you want all at once. That way your file doesn't get all convoluted and they can address everything all at once.
So I'm raising my hand, me next. So when they file it, when you say to file, I agree with you on that. And I believe I was talking to Trisha earlier and I told her to come on to ask because I wanted you to answer this question. When you say to file it, like let's say a veteran and it's been a long time since I filed a claim and they go online to file a claim, do they put on that one line filing fibromyalgia due to presumptive, then filing it secondary due to, is that how when you're saying file it all at once and they're filling it out?
Yeah. So, because that little box on the theories of entitlement that you can put down is a little small, but you don't have to really put in all that extra information. But I would suggest if you're going to claim the fibromyalgia and you have the qualifying Gulf War service, you put fibromyalgia due to Gulf War and then as secondary to, so if you wanted to file for it secondary to mental health, I would say, as secondary to your mental health conditions, kind of help them. But honestly, even if you have a diagnosis of it and you have the qualifying service, even if you only claimed it secondary, VA should catch that and then go ahead and do that duty to assist and get that opinion, or if it's needed, to service connect it. But mistakes do happen and people are human. So I would highly suggest just spelling it out so there can be no mistake made.
If you were claiming multiple theories of entitlement, for those that are secondary, say if she filed secondary to MST and secondary to IBS, would she have to provide nexus to prove that connection?
No, because if she's service connected for the primary condition, they would just kind of take it at its word. They would ask for the medical opinion, but she can't, VA would know what she's talking about, but she shouldn't file it secondary MST because MST is an event.
Well, she said she was diagnosed. She suffered MST and she was diagnosed. But
right.
She doesn't say whether those are service connected.
Well, it would probably just be best to say secondary to the mental health condition or whatever her diagnosis is. Again, MST is an event. It's not a diagnosis. So whatever mental health diagnosis that he has.
Yeah.
It's PTSD. We had this discussion earlier because I'm rated for the PTSD and IBS. And that's why I wanted her to come on, because I did get it granted secondary, but I felt she had a good leg to stand on to go to the presumptive lane.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I like what Jackie, and I wanted Jackie to confirm that, which is what I thought. She should go ahead and file both. Like, again, for the other person that we answered, file it both ways and let the VA determine which is potentially.
Yeah. And then, just as a caveat, like, let's say that the veteran served in Afghanistan and they previously weren't allowed to have consideration of 3.317 for the presumptive, right? For fibromyalgia. With the law change, the potential entitlement for it would only be like that August 10th, 2022, the date of the law change. Whereas if she's been continuously pursuing her claim and she had originally put in her claim before that, then they could potentially go back further, which would result in more back pay, or, if they were going to pay back
right.
pay, like an earlier effective date. And that's part of the reason why it's so advantageous to go ahead and just file for these multiple theories of entitlement. Plus, don't waste your time. You need to file direct and then wait.
That's true.
File secondary, then wait like another year, and then, just get it all done at once.
Right.
Excellent. Well, thanks. And well, I hope that helped, Trisha. All right, next one. All right.
The next one is from Shemp Howard. So, hi guys. Can a CMP exam for anxiety actually provide the current diagnosis and nexus?
Yeah, a CMP can diagnose you.
That's the purpose of the exam and the medical opinion.
It can. I think where this person's going with it is, let's say they don't have a mental health diagnosis and they're leaving it up to the CMP examiner to give them that diagnosis. That's where my mind's going.
Yeah, and think of the discussion that we had earlier. You can claim a back condition, a knee condition. You don't have to be like, oh, I have a meniscus tear of my left knee. You know what I mean? Just You can be a little vague with it as long as you're specific enough that they can identify the disability.
Right. And if you're filing it primary, if it's due to service, if you're filing it secondary, what's it secondary to? So, all right, looks like we got one more.
Okay, Mr. Carter again. So I have a lot of community care appointments require me to travel a lot, and the mileage is normally 75 to 90 miles. Should I submit meals also on my travel if I'm out most of the day?
Yes.
They do that. They do that.
Yes. And let me tell you this, community care appointment, you must go through the BTSSS portal within 30 days of your doctor's appointment out in the community care. And I hope you guys got your notepads out. You must get a letter from that doctor stating you were there. Now, my Bay Pines VA gives out a standard little like printout. You can just fill your name, and then the provider fills out the information and they sign it. That has to be uploaded for your proof that you went to that community care appointment within 30 days. So answering Robert's question, yes, you can get your meal for the day. And yes, you can get your mileage. And yes, you can get, if you also have toll expenses, you can get your tolls reimbursed as well.
Well,
But
that's awesome.
a lot of people think when they go out in the community, and I got to get these videos out, man, I'm so backlogged. When they go out in the community, that they just have to go click on the BTSS portal, click that community care appointment, and say, yeah, I went. There, you have to show proof, which I think is idiotic, because the VA already authorized you to go out in the community in the first place,
Right.
right?
They have record.
But you still need the proof, or they
Well,
deny it.
sometimes VA doesn't get the, the medical records in the 30 days, or sometimes the community care may not forward them to VA unless they're not supposed
Well,
to.
I know at the Atlanta VA, it's literally for the mileage, we just fill out the form and drop it in a drop box. So whoever sees it,
That's the old days.
Oh,
they
BTSS.
still do that. That's how the Atlanta VA does it. I mean, you literally just stand by there by a little
You
podium
still
and
get
fill out.
paid?
I've only been paid for my LHI, QTC,
Yeah.
and no of the
Travel pay is
actually going.
only travel pay now is only through the BTSS portal, and you must do it within 30 days. And like I said, and then going back to community care, make sure your what do you call it? What do we call those, Blake? We were talking about the referrals.
Yep.
Make sure your referrals are up to date too, because if they expire and you don't take care of it and you go to them,
Make sure your referral and your authorization. Make sure
Yes.
the validity dates on you fall within the validity dates of your authorization.
Yep. Because if you don't and you go, the VA denies, well, Optima, whatever, denies. Guess who's holding the guess who's holding for the bill?
Oh, wow.
The
Yep.
veteran.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is going to be one of my videos, guys. It's going to be about community care, the referrals, how to file for travel, all that, because there's so much confusion with it. With it.
Miss Stephanie and Mr. Chris, did y'all see where I tagged y'all on Facebook about a Mr. Jack Sigler?
No.
So he had a question. I filed for bronchitis and sinusitis. Recently diagnosed with asthma, so I sent my records to the VA through the website. Question is, will they automatically grant me for the asthma, or will I have to file another claim?
No idea. I can't answer that.
I tagged y'all in it.
It's in our Facebook group.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me look real quick.
Okay, Jackie will look. Well, Jackie's looking.
I tagged you and Chris. I'll tag Jackie as well.
While that Robert's asking, gotta get that slip. It's redundant, I think, but they won't approve it without the slip. Yes. What about a caregiver? Do they also get paid, or one or the other? No, you only get paid once for traveling. If you're traveling in the same vehicle, you're getting travel for one, and you're only getting paid for, I think the meals might be, I think it's capped. I don't remember, Robert. I'll look at it, but it's like no more than $20 for a meal. And there's no alcohol involved. It's just meals, like food. But I'm not sure about the caregiver.
That's good to know. You should definitely do a video on that. I didn't know that myself.
I've got so many in the hopper right now.
That's definitely a good one though.
So
Well, I think
How many times they owe me for Burger King and all them drugs?
so for Jack's question, if
I don't
so-
know if he's online though, so we may have to respond to him on that.
if he's not online, I'm not gonna address
yeah.
that.
Well, then Jackie, you can respond to the Facebook.
Yeah, I'll
post.
do it on the website then. That's not a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah. We thought we was
A lot of people said they can't comment. I see that they can't comment.
Oh,
Yeah, if they don't have a YouTube channel, they can't comment.
They
Right.
can. If you're not subscribed, but if you're not signed into your YouTube, you can't comment,
Right.
unfortunately,
And
guys.
unfortunately, going back to StreamYard without updating the account, I can only stream to one place.
Yeah, guys. And again,
That'll be
we're
fixed.
sorry.
That'll be fixed. It's software. It is what it is. We're trying
It
to
is.
do things and,
And at least we got it somehow to work. We came back and regrouped. I think we're out of questions, right, Chris?
yeah, we're out of questions. It's late. It's almost 10 o'clock.
Yeah. You guys are awesome. Well, listen.
Here in God's
Well, all
country.
my kids are asleep. Andy's asleep. Keon's snoring on the couch. I'm good.
Robert, I don't know what housebound under PACT Act means. If you're receiving housebound, you're receiving SMC-S.
Yeah.
It has nothing
Anyway.
to do. It has nothing to do with PACT.
Nothing to do with the PACT Act. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys all regrouping with us. We'll have another one. We're hoping to have another one 2 weeks. Yep, we're going to try and do another one on the 24th. Don't know if we're going to go back to the other software. I think we're going to lean towards this one again.
Oh, Jack is definitely on, so I'm gonna save myself the type and stuff if you don't mind, real quick.
Oh, Jack is on. Then
So, oh, for the love of God,
Jack's she's gonna answer Jack.
I don't know why.
Oh,
I was gonna read it again, but
Here it
anyway,
is.
you said you claimed. Oh, there we go. Thank you. So it depends on the theory of entitlement. So, like, if you were claiming them as direct or secondary to another condition, VA is not going to bother with it. However, if you're filing it due to like Gulf War, because it's a Gulf War, it's a
Presumptive.
yes, presumptive conditions under 3.320 under PACT Act and particulate matter. So if you have diagnoses of all three, they should go ahead and just add. They may be able just to add it. I'm not sure if they can really add it. At the very least, they're going to send you a letter saying that they can do it, but they should be able to add it because it's a presumptive condition if you meet the criteria. With the bronchitis and sinusitis, I'm guessing with all three, they're presumptive conditions, and that's kind of like how you're doing it. But, if you're not sure, you should probably get an ITF and put the claim in right now, because you don't want to miss out on, potential being paid for that disability, especially if it's presumptive because you rate it.
Yeah, exactly. ITF is the way to go. All right.
All right, guys. It was a long night. Thanks,
Yeah.
team, for coming back on. And
Yes, thanks, team. Ashley, we'll get together. I'll get you the shirt you need. And anything else we need to discuss, we'll do it through our private messenger. Thanks everybody for joining. Sorry again for the technical difficulties, but we'll be back in a couple weeks. Sorry, Dennis says, recently filed for PTSD and denied. However, examiner diagnosed me with MDD. What would be my next step? Dennis, put up that email. Chris. Dennis, we're getting ready to go off. Chris, yeah. Go ahead, email us at that email address with your denial, redacting your personal information. Let me look at it with the team and we will get back to you on next steps, but we're getting ready to end.
And please
again,
include me in that because I'm diagnosed with MDD myself.
I will. Yes, I will. And if anybody, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, everybody have a good night and we'll regroup. And thanks again, you guys, for coming back on.
thanks, team, for coming back on. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Have a good night,
Night.
everybody.